In this video, you're going to see a live trading session in which I took two trades that made me over $10,000. First, I'm going to break down the technical analysis and the price action that showed me how to avoid a false breakout that would have stopped us out and to find the true breakout that earned us money. Then you're going to see the live trading session in which I broke down the entire analysis of the entire trading session alongside two other $1 million traders. If you stick to the end, I promise you, you're going to know how to start trading yourself today. By the way, if you want to learn directly from me and trade alongside with me every single day, click the link below to see if you qualify. Please stay to the end of this video. You're going to love it. Okay, before we get into the live video, I do want to show you how I was able to set my levels, which allowed me to avoid two of the trades that looked like they would have worked out, but actually would not have, and found the two setups that actually did work out. Now, the live video I'm on with two other live traders, and we do quite a bit of breaking down the technical analysis of this trade, so I won't spend too much time here, but I do want to show you how I found the levels that I had while this live session kicked off. Okay, so the live session is going to be the New York session of Tuesday, October 19th, which is in the white here. Now, you have to imagine that that has not happened yet. And where did I get these levels? So again, remember that the blue area is the aftermarket from the prior trading day or the Asia session. The yellow section here is the London session or the pre-market. The levels that I will always mark in preparation for the New York session are the Asia high or aftermarket high, which is up here at 644.17, the Asia low or aftermarket low at 643.03, pre-market high right here at 643.34, and pre-market low 642.42. Now, the only other level that I have as significant is this aftermarket close right where it bodied, because we had a number of interactions with it right at the close, right at this wick, and right at this wick. Now, yesterday morning, the prior day morning, is significant in that we saw a high being established, we had a breakout, and it ended up reversing. This we call a false breakout, and this is going to be significant when I look at the morning session from August 19th. What I saw is that immediately off the open, the first candle took out pre-market low. Now, because we don't trade in the first half hour, I marked that as a low and we came back into range. I left the pre-market low level on because we did react to it a couple times. Now, after establishing this low off the open, we did form a bullish pattern. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. What I was waiting for was a test of pre-market high and a firm close above, which is actually what we got right at 10 o'clock. However, I did not take this trade. And the reason I did not take this trade is because of how big this distribution candle was and how close it came to aftermarket high. Now, I mentioned in this live video, some particular days I would have loved taking this trade. However, I had a memory of what happened the morning before. We had a false breakout when we took new highs, especially on a long distribution candle that followed some consolidation. You can look and see kind of a similar move. We had some consolidation. We did have a nice bullish pattern, but we had the long distribution candle and stayed away because of the exposure to being retraced upon, also near the long drawn liquidity of being aftermarket high. So stayed away from this long distribution candle because of the short draw. And at that point, I was looking to form a range. Now, if you look at what happened here, we had a retracement candle. We tested this level, which was the close of yesterday. Also, the original high that was tested here, here, and then right at close. We found a reaction and then a firm close below it. What I liked about this, and now this is a very assertive reversal entry, was that we had a reaction off support, failing to take a higher high, so a lower high, and a close below. We did have distribution down. We got half off, stopped at break even. At that point, I adjusted support to the bottom of this swing low here. And what I was looking for is another lower high, which we got, and then a firm close below support, which we did. But again, a long distribution candle coming right to a key level, which was aftermarket low, almost right to the penny, if not right on. And if you watch the live video, I want you to see how price reacted almost immediately at the close of this candle. We had a push down, an immediate retracement back up. This potentially could have stopped us out. I don't know if it did. However, I'm glad that I stayed away because what presented next was another lower high and a firm close below support. Now, the reason I liked this much better, and I talk about this in the live session, please stay on for the live session. There's so much good commentary from this live video session. I hope you watch all of it. But we had on the 1 minute chart, and you'll see in the live session, some lower highs being established through here. And then the close, we had room down to both pre-market low and the low of the day. And so I did take entry here. Luckily, we had really nice distribution. We got half off, we got a quarter off, and we got into some trailers before we got stopped. So we had a half a trade here. We had a full trade here. I can't wait for you to see the live breakdown. Stay tuned. Here it is. By the way, if you have any interest in trading alongside with me every single day with this group you're about to see, click the link below to see if you qualify. Enjoy the live video. All right, so I'm seeing some engagement here at the aftermarket low. I have it marked just above 643. I'm gonna let this settle down a little bit. It's been kind of coming after all these levels. So I have yesterday's pre-market low marked at 642.8. We did sweep that. We didn't body below it. So we reacted there. After that, we came back up. We swept pre-market high, bodied down below aftermarket low. Interestingly, we actually respected pre-market low from today on this candle. And then on the way up, we swept aftermarket low, and now we're coming back down. So this to me is just a little volatile to want to engage. It hasn't really picked a direction just yet. If I had, let's say, we said, well, you saw reaction here at the aftermarket low, but how I'm reading this structure is after we took the low down here, we had a low, we had a high, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. This is bullish. And so you can say, oh, you closed below key level. Yes, we did, but that structure had not broken yet on the 5-minute chart. And so this is telling me, especially since it didn't take this high, that price is still encouraged to push up. Now I see it reacting here again at aftermarket low. And so I think we just got to let this play out a little bit to see what this wants to do. Like if it comes and it fails to take aftermarket low, I'll look for potential support where we might react in here. We had a lot of indecision throughout pre-market, and so I won't be too tempted to look for puts as any sort of higher level of support just yet. I am interested in what happens if it comes down and tests pre-market low, and I'm also interested in what happens if it tests pre-market high at this point. And then above pre-market high, we have our aftermarket high way up here at 644.16. And then interestingly, if you remember yesterday, we had our first initial high wick up here. This is where we took calls and it reversed. This was a very clear false breakout. We ended up closing right at that level, and so I'm keeping that as overarching resistance potentially. And so we have decent draw up, but again, this to me hasn't really picked a direction yet. It hasn't been decisive in either direction just yet. I want to see if it comes up and tests pre-market high, and then we'll see if we can get a push potentially up to the previous day close and then aftermarket high. So let's see if we can get a test right around that 643.35. I'd love a touch right to the penny on that to confirm that level. Haven't gotten it quite yet on this candle. Okay, let's see if it reacts. There we go. 2 minutes left, and I'm going to pull up some call contracts. I'm looking at August 20th. They're a little expensive, but the 643 calls are priced at about 173 or so. These contracts are moving kind of quickly. Look at that push. Let's see if we can find some humility in this candle here. What we saw yesterday with a massive green candle and then a reversal, I don't want to get in a position where we repeat potentially a same push. So I'll want some room for our draw on this one. I know that that's not always the case, but you can see we have a massive amount of room for a potential retracement that would stop us out. So I'm going to be watching closely. We have just under a minute left. Look at that go. And so seeing that reaction to that initial high we took yesterday, now this looks incredibly strong, obviously. I'm going to make the decision to stay away from this candle because of the potential chance for retracement. What this does, though, however, it leaves us a ton of room for a potential setup, finding a new range, potentially coming back down to pre-market high. If it does find a new range, and let's say that we find higher level of support and push and test higher, we will enter. But at this point, we're almost at that aftermarket high already, so staying away. But if we do come up and we test that aftermarket high, I will be interested. Okay. I want to see a higher low established. I want to see some buying pressure closer to where our entry is. That potentially will protect us. See, we weren't protected at all the way down here. I don't know what those contracts moved, but really broke through two significant levels. So pre-market high, previous day close, right near aftermarket high. And so I want to see if this is our new range that can be established at this point. And then I'll feel more confident that we can be protected if we find some higher level of buying pressure. I'm going to see what those contracts did just out of curiosity.
I think like 221 down to 214. I
Okay.
actually
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, well, sorry, excuse me. The low was I think 208, something like that. Again, still not bad.
220, 206. We'd still probably be in this trade with we definitely would moved 14 cents. So we'd be in with a 10% stop. Let's see if we find this new range here. Again, this 643.80 is the previous day close. It also was that initial high. We had a false break above it. We had tested it again, rejected, and closed at it. So that was probably the level that I would like to see if it's respected as opposed to where this bodied. The nice thing is if we do take aftermarket high, a close near here, with those contracts would likely be about the same of where this candle started, depending on how this erodes. And so this could still be an entry that I'd feel more confident, especially if it reacts here. Then we could use that, which was resistance, as support to push even higher. And so no FOMO if this pushes up, because our entry could be right up here if it gives it to us. Now I'm going to be paying attention to 643.80.
We formed a lower high on the 1 minute. Don't quite see it on the 5 minute yet.
A good amount of room down from previous day close to pre-market high potentially too. So I'm going to mark that same level on the 1 minute chart just to see if we can see how the 1 minute candles react to it. No bias at all right now. Got a little more typical movement now. That was a wild candle. Okay, we're approaching 1 minute left on the 5 minute chart. Let's just see if we keep getting reactions off of 643.80. I don't have either contracts pulled up just yet. We have not confirmed resistance up here yet. Not close to support, but we'll be watching close. Wouldn't mind if we hung in this range for this, at least for another candle or two. I'm just going to take a peek at the call contracts really quickly. So we have just 10 seconds left. Likely not going to be an entry, but I'm keeping an eye on the 644 calls now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, staying away. Perfect. Okay. I think we got a pretty clear range. Let's see if we react up here. Again, that's the aftermarket high. Didn't take a higher high on the 1 minute. So this could be setting up potentially like a reversal, but we'll see. Still very strong on the 5 minute chart, obviously. Would love a reaction to the penny up here. It's gonna be a really telling candle here. So just talking through avoiding the entry here. On some days, that would be a slam dunk entry. Powerful candle, ripping through previous or pre-market high, previous day close. The reason I felt very convicted to hold off, again, because most recently when we had a massive breakout candle, we got reversed on just yesterday. If SPY had been moving like it had potentially June, July, when the breakouts were just going crazy, I probably would have taken that entry. But most recently, I've been told that when it breaks out, it does not follow through. And so using that information, decided to hold off.
Nice. What's really attractive about the way that this is setting up right now is it's consolidating and forming this range just above previous day high.
Yep.
With those final couple candles heading into the close where we have resistance there, 643.80 is exactly what we're holding on to now and failing to make higher highs. So
yep,
beautifully up here.
So we have over 2 minutes, but I'm looking at the August 20th, 644 puts. They're priced at about 143, 144 right now. The nice thing is we have most recent price action ripping through this range. No resistance at all. Yes, we did have some kind of scattered price movement in the aftermarket, but most recently did not find any key levels through here. So could potentially predict a fast move through here. Now I have the fair value gap. We have a ton of liquidity sitting in here, buy liquidity that potentially could cause price to hit some speed bumps, but again, no key levels established in most recent price action. Beautiful. Okay, those contracts are up to 154 now. SPY August 20th, 644 puts on a firm 5 minute candle close below 643.80. Just over a minute. This could be quick. We could see, I kind of call it like a seesaw pattern as we tap into buy liquidity and then go after more of it. And so we also could see quick move down and quick move up. So want to be executing quickly potentially. Again, August 20th, 644 puts on a firm 5 minute candle close below 643.80. 30 seconds, 20 seconds. I think if this closes below, it'll be firm. Do want to close below that level though. Watching close, 10 seconds. Watching close, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Buying here. It's filled at 153 and I'll put my stop in at 137. That was close to being firm. We did close below. I think it was firm.
Yep.
It was firm for sure.
This could be quick. Want to use that level as resistance now. This could be quick, everybody. Just be ready. A little bit further. I'm going to try to get my stop off right around here and potentially take some profit if we push into that fair value gap. Taking my stop off. One more push. I'll put my stop back on at 137. Could have gotten some profit there, but we went to quite a bit, 10%. Everything's been following through, so I feel okay about that. Taking my stop off, and I'm going to take half off here at 166. I got filled at 165. Stop to 152. Didn't want to get greedy on that second attempt. We were reacting to that buy liquidity just like we thought we would. So stops at 152. I think that'll keep us in here. And we got more to go after here. So be ready again. Couple cents away. Still in it. That's too bad. Let's see if we can get it. One more push down. Let's go SPY. Couple cents away. Still in it. Stopped. I thought we were going to come after, and I thought we'd come back to pre-market high, but we got half off. Stopped at break even. About a 13-cent move, so not quite 10%, but we came close. Again, why these fair value gaps help with my execution is you can see, and again, I have the Spaceman BTC, and I know that Jerry and Andy don't use this, but I'll just share why I use it. The difference between this one and the Lux Algo is that you can see when price pushes into it that those fair value gaps shrink, and so you can see where, if it comes back down, where it might hit some buy liquidity again. And so when it came back down and pushed into it and then reacted, and then the second attempt, I waited that first time because we didn't quite get to 10%, but we held this as resistance, like my thesis would, a key level that holds a support will likely as resistance. And so felt just fine letting it give it another attempt at holding as resistance. But the second time, like I said, I didn't want to get too greedy. And so I was fine taking at 8 to 9%. And then we gave it a shot to take more, just didn't get it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does.
And we got plenty of time for another setup. Just give it some time to establish a range again. We know we've invalidated this for now, and it's looking like it is just going to consolidate for a little bit again, which is fine. It's interesting. We're like finding like a 1 or like a 3-cent range here.
Yeah, I modified down from 643.80 to 643.77. But I see what you're saying on that tiny little range.
Although I could be convinced to take this entry here. We've confirmed this as resistance a number of times. We've got a minute left, so I'm going to take a peek at those 644 contracts again. I think I'd want it below this wick here, and so I'm going to say August 20th, 644 puts on any close below 643.71, and I'm just doing that to mark that we've closed below this wick and that it looks like it'd be firm. So again, August 20th, 644 puts on a close below 643.71. 20 seconds, and if we don't get it, I'll move that line back to that 643.80 just so we have some clarity around that level. Gonna be watching close, not looking like we'll get it in the last 10 seconds. And I'm not looking at calls just yet, and I'll tell you why in a second. Staying away. Yeah. Okay, so some people would say, well, wasn't your range this 3-cent range? Yes, but this could push up, but the 1 minute can be helpful when you're trying to decide, like with a 5 minutes not really telling you much, and I'm not this, and Andy doesn't typically like talking about trend lines, and this is not for taking entry because obviously this is not precise. The 1 minute was telling me this was shaping up to be bearish, right? And so it's like, well, you have a 3-cent range, yes, but I was only considering puts within that range because of this and this, and I still could be convinced in puts on this candle, depending where this goes. Oh, I wish we could have gotten that. No worries though.
It did not offer conviction.
Nope. No conviction. Not even at that. If we had left that level as a bounce off of resistance, it actually closed above that. So there was no way to find that entry there.
Right.
Got a lot of time left, so I just want to see what this candle does.
Ryan, Eric's on fire, man. He's going to be on your interviews before long.
Tell me about it.
He's absolutely crushing it.
There was our move.
Man, what a candle. What is going on?
You son of a gun, SPY. That was what was supposed to happen on our entry. SPY, August 20th, 643 puts on a firm 5-minute candle close below 643.01. I'm going to be sizing down. Now I want this to close below the aftermarket low, okay? So we're going to be watching close. There's a reaction to it. August 20th, 643 puts on a firm 5-minute candle close below 643.01. Watching close. 3, 2, 1. Staying away. That was the move I thought we were going to get, Andy and Jerry. God dang it. That was exactly what I was envisioning. Rip right through that and go all the way down and sweep aftermarket low. That would have been a nice one. With that speed too. I think that those contracts hit like 206, I think.
Yeah.
And when you get like these long intra candle distributions, no FOMO. There's a lot of clarity around where levels are. If we had closed here, I probably would have taken it. When we swept aftermarket low, remember these levels are levels I drew before I signed on. They've been respecting them over and over and over. And so my conviction was, if we take this, we've got drawdown to here, and we don't until then. Now I don't know if we would have gotten stopped out or not, but again, underlying support reacted. We wait for entry below at this point. It's been giving us a lot of room to distribute, but it's been that kind of that intra candle distribution, which is a little bit unfortunate, but still like the opportunity that it's giving us. So again, levels being respected very cleanly. And so we'll wait for our opportunity. And if it gives it to us, we'll take entry, and hopefully we get one of those distributions while we're in the trade. That's all we can hope for. Testing pre-market high again. Gosh, it's only been a half an hour. This feels like it's been 2 trading sessions already.
This is It's another challenging price action day, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the price action's clean. It's just the timing of the distributions have been a little challenging.
Exactly.
It's actually a lot cleaner than yesterday morning, like you pointed out, Jerry.
Yesterday morning was I feel like yesterday as a whole was a challenge, or maybe I'm just over analyzing it, but I feel like yesterday was a super challenging day. Like I was having a hard time getting a good read
Oh,
on price.
that's gross.
Crushed it though.
That's ugh. This is way cleaner. You just have a push down. You got very, very bullish structure. Lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, high of the day, lows, lower highs, lower lows. It's pretty clean. It's just how, and then lots of distribution. But again, you get these big distribution candles. Yeah, I think it got to like 8% down here. That initial reversal up, you would have stayed in. You would have had to really time this perfectly to get 8% before getting stopped. So I feel good about staying away. I'm kind of assessing, back testing, as I go along, and I'm trying to install this into my long-term memory as I go along, as I'm gaining more information about how the market's behaving now. So again, markets conditions change every day, right? They change every month, they change every week. I want to be aware and engaged with what the market's doing right now. And by verbalizing, talking it out, looking at entries, staying away, thinking through why did I take it, why did I not take it, and then being actively engaged in what happened afterwards, that's staying in my long-term memory. Okay. And so I'm dialed in. I know exactly what's happened most recently. I'm not saying that I know what's going to happen again. I'm just aware, and that helps me. That helps me kind of just stay with like market conditions, kind of saying, okay, well, I remember this would happen. This is what happened yesterday. We had this big distribution candle, but I didn't have to look at it. I remembered it. And that, obviously we took that trade, but the more actively engaged you stay with the market, the more it's going to be absorbed and you're going to remember it. You're going to have that at the tip of your fingers. Again, we're still finding all of this within a very specific strategy, a very specific execution doesn't change. We always put in our stop loss. We always wait for 5-minute candle closes. But again, if you see something that's happened recently and nothing in between has told you something else, it's okay to say, hey, hold on a second. Last time it did this, it didn't follow through. I'm going to stay away. It's always okay to stay on the sidelines. If I, had to run upstairs to answer the door, I miss a trade. So what? You don't have to take every trade that presents, because something will always represent, and it could be a better spot than last time. So now, again, I'm looking at what happens here at aftermarket low. Open to a wide retracement on this long distribution candle, continuing the bearish move, but with a lower high. And let's see what happens here. We got over 3 minutes left. Hopefully it stays kind of in the spot here. Would actually kind of love if it holds and then in the next minute or two retraces and then closes firm. That'd give me a lot of conviction. So I'm looking at, again, the August 2643 puts. They're priced about 151 or so right now. I'd love for that level. Here, I'm going to adjust this here. In the 1 minute, 643.01. We didn't have to even quite tap it, but finding selling pressure. Let's see if we can get one candle to just be a little more humble here as we're looking for a setup. Just under 2 minutes. Again, I'm looking at the August 20th, 643 puts on a firm 5-minute candle close below 643.01. All right, we got 40 seconds left. Sorry, I'm going to look again at the 643 puts on a firm 5-minute candle close below 643.01. Please hang out, SPY. We want to take entry here. Looking to take entry here. We've got a nice lower high on the 1 minute. 20 seconds. August 20th, 643 puts. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Buying here. Filled at 164, and I'll put my stop in at 149. I'm sorry, 139. Sorry. Hopefully it doesn't matter. I can't do the math here. Now I'm going to move my stop to 145. Okay, we want to see if we can use this high as resistance. Let's see if we can get a push down here. If we can get a fast move below this wick, I'll look to potentially take my stop off. Let's see what we get. Taking my stop off, one more push, and I'll take half off here at 179. Filled at 179. Stop to 165. Wasn't quite 10%, but we came close to that. Let's see if we can rip through this now. Come on, SPY. Do it to us. Stops at 165. If we rip through this level, be ready to execute quickly. Okay, stops at 165. I hope we get a rip through here. That'd be really nice. But if it doesn't, no big deal. We got our stop in at 165.
Yeah, obviously we're risk-free for the second trade and everything is great. These contracts are moving so well though. Let's see here.
Taking my stop off, and I'll take another quarter at 191. Filled at 190.
Well done, buddy.
Stop to 175. Stop to, hold on, 175 still. Stop to 180. Stop to 185. Stop to $2.
Yes, sir.
Hang tight. Come on. Stops at $2. Come on, a little bit more. How did that tap me? Okay.
I just got me too though.
What the heck? That was, it actually sold when it looked like it only got to 202.
That's all right. We were at the.
Trailers
There's
are
our
so
move.
fun,
We got
man.
it. See, patience, right? No need to rush
Oh.
into any of these. You know, it's like,
Good-
oh, FOMO here. Oh, FOMO
Good
here. No,
work, Ryan.
no. There's our move. Got it. Let's go, guys.
That
Good
was
work, buddy.
incredible. That was so awesome.